Like a sudden thunderbolt from a clear blue sky, one day came the news that Japan had attacked America and started a war. As a result, Britain went to war with Japan. 2 large British warships were attacked by Japanese airmen at Singapore, and sunk. The Japanese invasion of Malay continued for a few days. In a very short time in history, Malay became a possession of Japan. All that time, Raghuv and Revthi were in the same panic and worry. Every day, after the rise of the Japanese murderous regime, they were expecting a terrible disaster. Who knows, whose head was in danger at any moment, in that head-scratching kingdom? In case of death, both of them were making a firm wish, to die together. A few months passed like this. Then, that great event happened, that could change the history of the world. Netaji came to Malay, and established the government of independent India. Even though there was not a single piece of land for his government to rule, all the Indians in Malay felt that they were living under an independent Indian government. Their shoulders were puffed up. A sense of pride and exhilaration erupted in their hearts. Many national governments recognized Netaji's government of independent India. Before that, the Japanese treated the Indians like worms, but after the arrival of Netaji, they started showing more respect to the Indians. Indians' life and property liberties were adequately protected. It soon became clear what Netaji's intentions were. It was known that his intention was to form an Indian Freedom Army, invade India and chase away the British, and raise the flag of complete freedom in New Delhi. With this in mind, Netaji started mobilizing the Indian Freedom Force. Until then, the Indians who lived in Malay and Burma, including people who were lying on the platform, gave money. Those who did not even dream of going to war, began to join Netaji's Freedom Army. Dr. Raghavan and Dr. Revthi were among the first to join the Freedom Force. Now, the couple fully believed that God had brought them to the Malay country, because of the fact that the liberation of Mother India was to take place through them. They left Malay with the first party that went to Burma. Jai Hind, people chanting the Freedom War song. They marched towards the border. When they left, the enthusiasm of the army members knew no bounds. Netaji was there in person and gave a speech that could infuse even the tree with the feeling of freedom and heroism. He asked about those who were ready to sacrifice their bodies and souls for the liberation of the motherland. And those soldiers left with the promise that they would never return until they make Netaji the first aggressor of the Indian Republic. Dr. Raghavan was also possessed by such freedom fanaticism. However, 2 factors occurred that dampened his enthusiasm. One of them is, he has to part with Revthi. Because the women's force that Revthi had joined was not immediately sent to the war. It was heartbreaking for both of them to be separated from each other like this. However, in view of the great ideal they were engaged in, they somehow consoled their minds and prepared to part. They parted promising each other that, if they meet again, they will meet in the land of free India. If not, they will meet in heroes' heaven. Raghavan somehow overcomes the emotional exhaustion caused by Revthi's separation. But the embarrassment that arose in my mind was not so easy to deal with, because of another reason. The reason was, the leader of the Freedom Brigade was Major General Kumar. When Raghavan first came to know this fact, he was stunned by surprise. On inquiry, Raghavan came to know how he became a Major General in the Indian Freedom Army. Within a few days of his arrival as an IMS doctor in the force, which had first come to Rangoon, to protect Burma from the Japanese. Within a few days, the Japanese surrounded on all sides and told them to surrender. All those who surrendered were initially imprisoned. Later, those who agreed to join Netaji's Freedom Army were released. Colonel Kumar was one of those freed. Much to Netaji's special admiration, He was soon appointed as the head of a large army division with the rank of Major General instead of being a doctor. After knowing all this, Raghavan's surprise disappeared. But, there was only a kind of horror in the mind. And General Kumar does not pretend that he already know our hero, Raghavan. This greatly disturbed Raghavan's peace of mind.